Hi all, I think spring has finally arrived for us here, so today I'm going over 8 seasonal chores that I've been enjoying here on the homestead. The first spring chore involves preserving eggs, and this time of year we are getting a lot of free-range, beautiful backyard eggs. I've done a couple different videos on different ways of preserving them, but by far my favorite method of preserving them right now is freeze drying. We were very fortunate to get a freeze dryer, so I'll link the one we got for you below. But if you don't have a freeze dryer or that's not an option for you right now, I do have videos with just a regular freezer that work too. I love freeze drying the eggs we're getting because obviously we're getting too many to eat right now, but later in the year, especially in the winter, we'll be wanting those fresh eggs with all those good micronutrients. So that's why it's time to put in the work right now, because they'll actually slow down during the summer too. I did a whole separate video on freeze drying eggs, so you can check that one out if you want to see the whole process, but this has just been what I've been doing every few weeks or so right now. The second chore I've been enjoying is preserving fruit, and we are too early to be getting our homegrown fruit right now, but we are finding a lot of really good deals at the grocery store. I just picked up these strawberries from Costco for $2 for 2 pounds, so that's $1 a pound, and they smelled so good. They were definitely very fresh. So even though we will be getting a lot of homegrown strawberries in a few weeks, I did pick these up and I'm just freeze drying them. Again, it's such an easy way to preserve, and I always take those strawberry tops to the chickens to enjoy. They are the best little recycle bins. Of course, our chickens' favorite treats are Grubterra. Grubterra did partner with us on today's video. Grubterra are black soldier fly larvae, so they're just a very nutritious treat we give to our chickens. They help keep those eggshells nice and strong, and they help keep them coming when we call them so they stay well trained. If you are new to Grubterra, feel free to use our discount code OKABODE for 10% off. Of course, I left the link for you below as well. Another chore that I've been loving on the homestead this spring is planting bare root plants. And I swear I did not need any more bare root plants, but I had to order some. So I've been planting a lot of ever-bearing strawberries. We got a ton of June-bearing strawberries before, which we love, but we did find that after the June-bearing strawberries were finished, we missed those fresh strawberries. So even though we have one big harvest that we like to preserve, we are planting some ever-bearing strawberries this year, so we can still snack on fresh strawberries from our land throughout the season. These are from M.I. Gardener. This was my first time ordering dormant plants from M.I. Gardener, and as you can see, the roots are very long and strong. So I was very impressed. And this is just my little hack for planting strawberries. I just sort of take that trowel, wiggle it back and forth, and stuff those roots in there. Definitely not the fanciest way to plant strawberries, but we've planted about 150 of them this way and find that they do really well, at least where we are. I also planted some more asparagus. I'm constantly trying to expand the asparagus patch. Pay no mind to the giant plume of toxic smoke somewhere off in the distance. No idea what that was about. I called it in and they weren't worried about it, so I guess neither am I. Planting asparagus is a bit of a chore. I don't really do it the way you're supposed to, where you dig really deep and then you mound over time. I've just been kind of sticking them in the ground and hoping the strong survive. As far as strong plants go, I have gotten asparagus from probably 4 different sellers, and these are my favorite. These are from Stark Brothers. This isn't sponsored or anything, but oh my goodness, look at those roots. They are so beautiful. Even though it's not really the proper way to plant asparagus, I did this a couple years ago with these same plants, and they've been coming back really strong. Another chore I've been loving is prepping the raised garden beds. We didn't have a lot of success growing last year in ground, so this year we sort of mounded piled compost and a topsoil compost mix in the garden beds in hopes that it will help the plants grow better than our very compact soil. This is the garlic that I planted last fall. Even though it's a little bit frost burned, it seems pretty happy otherwise. I'm just tending to the weeds. Now, as you guys can see, this is what we ordered in bulk. It was called a garden mix. It's 50% topsoil and 50% compost, but it came with quite a few sort of rocks and yucky stuff in it. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm hoping it'll still work to grow the plants that I wanna grow, but I am adding some organic raised bed mix on top of it so that when I'm direct seeding, the seeds should hopefully have a little bit easier time. Just breaking up that soil as best I can. I know seeds aren't going to do very well in this, but I'm hoping once the plants get going that they will do all right. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of bagged soil. It's dead soil, I know, but when you're just getting started and you don't have an established compost pile, you just got to do what you got to do. So we're hoping to get everything in place for this year, and then moving forward, we should have our own compost from our chickens and our other livestock, and of course, kitchen straps and that kind of thing. It just does take a while to get established. And you guys know me, I don't have the patience to wait a couple more years to garden. Chore number 5 is planting and tending to the seedlings. So I have started some seeds. This year I am using soil blocking, which I've done in the past and works pretty darn well. The peppers seem to like it a lot better than the tomatoes. I did a video on this greenhouse actually after I posted that first video. My dogs decided to get into the greenhouse and rip all the plastic up. So I had to replace with this plastic, which has been working fine. I've just been taking the seedlings in on really cold nights, but otherwise the fish tank heater in the bucket has been working so well. As you guys can see, these seedlings are quite happy. I'm having such better success than I ever had with grow lights. I especially like using a mini greenhouse because they're already hardened off to the sun, so I don't lose seedlings that way. I will link the greenhouse that I use down below for you, but overall it's been a very positive learning experience. These are some dahlias that I started from seed, so hopefully they make it all the way to maturity and I can save the tubers. Another chore for the spring is washing the mutts, and we try to do this at least twice a year. They are farm dogs, so they get into quite a bit of junk. Definitely not their favorite part of the day, but after they're nice and clean, they get so many more scratchies and loves that I think they appreciate it in the long term. Even though our dogs don't enjoy it, they know that it's kind of expected of them. And if you have a dog who is not fun to bathe, I encourage you just to keep going, keep working at it, try and make it positive for them, because Freya used to be awful in the bathtub, but she's pretty good now. The next chore is potting up the seedlings. So once those seedlings are big enough, we definitely want to pot them up or put them in more space so that their roots don't become all tangled up. These are peppers, so they're definitely not ready to go outside yet. It's still too cold where we are. One thing I've learned when potting up seedlings is the Sharpies really don't work if you water them first. So in order to have the Sharpies work, I always label them before I water the soil. That way there aren't drips out on the outside of the cup. Little hack if you haven't done it already this year. I have always had really poor peppers when I do them from seed myself because I always stunt their growth by putting them outside too early. So hopefully this is finally my year for peppers. The last thing we really like to spearhead during the spring is construction projects. The nice part about starting in the spring is if it's behind schedule, which they usually are, we can always go into the summer. But by trying to tackle these during the spring, we have usually much better weather as long as it's dry enough. We were very fortunate to be able to acquire a tractor recently. So my husband is putting up a beautiful garden fence to keep the chickens and hopefully everything else out of the garden. Another project he recently finished up is this very cute little mobile livestock shelter. If you guys have any guesses as to the new livestock that's going to go in here, please leave a comment below. We are super excited to bring them home very shortly here. So those are the 8 spring chores I've been loving on the homestead. Please leave a comment below with your favorite parts of spring, whether you're in an apartment or on a ton of land. This is always such an exciting time of year for anybody who wants to get a little more self-reliant. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time.